Dana lands at Frankfurt Airport with 2 suitcases, a laptop bag, and a number in her head, $8,000. That's what she budgeted for the whole move to Germany. 6 weeks later, she's sitting on a folding chair in an empty apartment, doing math on her phone, and the number staring back at her is closer to 19,000. That gap between what people think moving to Germany costs and what it actually costs is what we're breaking down today. Visa, shipping, deposits, all the setup costs nobody puts in the brochure. By the end of this video, you'll know the real number, not the guess. I'm Justin. I've lived in Germany for over 12 years now, and I moved here the same way most of you are thinking about it, from the US, with a job offer, a suitcase, and honestly not enough research. If you're new here, subscribe, because every week I break down what things actually cost in Germany versus the US, using real numbers, not guesses. Before we get into the spreadsheet, one quick thing. During the actual move, hotel Wi-Fi, airport Wi-Fi, logging into your US bank account from a German IP address to pay off a credit card before you leave. That's exactly the kind of moment your accounts get flagged or your data gets grabbed. I run NordVPN on my laptop and phone for stretches like that, and honestly I still leave it on daily now that I'm here. I'll drop a link below. Most people think the big cost of moving to Germany is the plane ticket and maybe a moving company. That's the myth. The reality is the plane ticket is almost the cheapest line item on the whole list. The real cost is buried in fees, deposits, and government requirements most people never hear about until they're already mid-process. Now, to be fair, the crowd that says moving here is cheap isn't wrong about everything. Compared to a lot of countries, Germany's actual bureaucratic fees are low. We're talking double-digit euros for a lot of the paperwork, not thousands. If you're single, flexible on housing, and shipping almost nothing, you genuinely can do this move light. That version of the move exists. It's just not the version most people actually end up living. Let's start with the visa. If you're coming from the US for work, you'll apply for a national visa at the German consulate, and the application fee itself is only 75 euros. Cheap. But almost nobody qualifies on the visa fee alone. Depending on your visa type, you may also need to prove you can support yourself, which means opening a blocked account and depositing close to 1,000 euros for every month you're not yet employed here. For a lot of people, that's 11 or 12,000 euros, sitting frozen in a bank account before you've even booked a flight. Then there's health insurance, which in Germany isn't optional. You legally cannot register your address without proof of coverage. If your employer enrolls you in public health insurance, you're typically looking at somewhere around 280 to 500 euros a month depending on your income, split with your employer. If you're self-employed or between jobs, expect to pay that whole amount yourself, sometimes with private insurance running 300 to 500 euros a month or more. Now, shipping. This is the one people budget worst for. If you're bringing real furniture and a full household, a shipping container from the US runs somewhere between $6,000 and $13,000 door to door, depending on container size and how far inland you're going on both ends. If that number makes you wince, you're not alone. It's why most experienced expats will tell you to sell almost everything and start over and just ship boxes instead. A partial container, sharing space with other people's shipments, can bring that down to somewhere in the low thousands, but it's still real money, and it still takes 3 to 6 weeks to arrive. Housing is where the deposits hit. German landlords are legally allowed to ask for up to 3 months of cold rent as a security deposit, cold rent meaning before utilities. On an average city apartment renting for say 1,200 euros a month, that's up to 3,600 euros just sitting with your landlord on top of your first month's rent. Add a real estate agent's commission, which can run close to 2 months' rent in competitive cities, and you can be 6,000 or 7,000 euros deep before you've unpacked a single box. Here's where it gets interesting. Even after the visa, the insurance, the shipping, and the deposit, you're still not actually done, because Germany has an entire second layer of setup costs that catch almost everyone off guard. You'll register your address at the local citizen's office within 2 weeks of moving in, which is free, but it unlocks a chain of paid next steps. Your residence permit card, typically 50 to 150 euros, and a mandatory household broadcasting fee of about 18 euros a month whether you own a TV or not. And then there's the very unglamorous cost of just furnishing an empty apartment, because a lot of German rentals come completely bare. No kitchen, no light fixtures, sometimes not even a kitchen sink. Buying a basic kitchen alone can run anywhere from 2,000 to 8,000 euros if you can't inherit one from the last tenant. So let's go back to Dana. Her $8,000 budget covered the flight, the first month's rent, and basically nothing else. What actually hit her account over 6 weeks was closer to 19,000. Visa and blocked account funds, 2 months of private health insurance before her job coverage kicked in, a partial shipping container, the deposit and agent fee on her apartment. and a second-hand kitchen she had to buy from the outgoing tenant because the unit was completely empty. None of that was a scam or bad luck. It's just what the real total looks like when nobody adds up the line items in advance. So here's what I'd actually do differently, or what I'd tell a friend making this move. 1. Budget $15,000 to $20,000 total if you're moving a household, not just yourself in a suitcase, and treat anything lower as the light version of this move, not the default. 2. Open your blocked account and start the visa paperwork the moment you have a job offer, because that clock is the longest one in the whole process. 3. Ship less than you think you need to. Furniture is almost always cheaper to rebuy in Germany than to ship. And 4. Budget for the invisible costs, specifically the kitchen, the broadcasting fee, the agent commission, because those are the ones that blow up an otherwise careful budget. Dana's apartment looks pretty great now, by the way, kitchen and all. It just cost about 2.5 times what she thought it would, and now you know why, before you're the one sitting on a folding chair doing the math. If this was useful, subscribe. I break down a different real cost of living in Germany every week, comparisons nobody else is actually running the numbers on. See you in the next one.